Welcome to the Startups Marketing Podcast. In this season, we explore how marketers use AI to get better results for less money. The idea of this season is to not play around with tools, but to actually capture a whole process to show what is possible today. We interview marketers who show us how they actually use AI in their daily lives. Some previous chapters, we've learned how to develop buyer personas or how to develop a marketing strategy. If you haven't, check them out. And now let's get started. Did you know that even the American Constitution was ranked as an AI-generated text? So if the American Constitution can be ranked as an AI-generated text, any text could be flagged as AI-generated. You don't want that because you don't want to be ranked low on Google search. In today's world, you have to check your content, even if you've written it manually. So today's guests, Rajiv and Gabriel, will walk us through their process that helps them prevent their text being flagged as AI generated. We're going to see how to, first of all, test the text for AI generation, and then how to prompt ChatGPT to get better outputs that are less likely to be flagged. And as a last step, they will show us how to add the final manual touch to get any text to 100%. With this process, Rajiv and Gabriel make sure that their texts are not flagged as AI and rank high by Google search. Rajiv and Gabriel represent Salt and Fussell, a marketing agency from down under Victoria. If you're listening to this podcast, you might want to check out the YouTube video to see all the prompts and screen shares covered. And now, let's listen to Rajiv and Gabriel. Welcome back to the next episode of the Startups Podcast. Today with Gabriel Sassi. Is that correct? Correctly pronounced?
SS. Yep.
SS. It's a fascinating name. We had a great conversation on that already. And Rajiv Agarwal, great to have you here. Gabriel and Rajiv work together. And let's just kick off. And Gabriel, tell us about your company, and then Rajiv will walk us through the processes that we decided to cover today.
Cool. Well, first of all, thanks, Simon, for having us today. What we do at Salt and Fussell, we are an online marketing agency. So our focus is to generate leads and sales for our clients. And we need to do this in the most cost-effective way as possible. At the end of the day, it's all about maximizing return on investment that can be measured. Now, the big thing that has been happening over the last year or so, or especially the last 6 months, was, well, the launch of ChatGPT to the public or to the open public, and everyone is talking about AI. Now, internally at Salt and Fussell, we've been using AI tools for the past few years, where Rajiv has been leading that front. And we thought, well, our clients are asking those questions. What are you guys doing in regards to AI? Am I going to be replacing the agency or not? And that's when we started doing these teaching sessions for our clients and the open public to tell them a bit more about how AI is being used in our agency, how we actually leverage from it, how we can do way more with it than in the past. But at the end of the day, it's not replacing the human component, which is so critical and important to understand the needs of our clients and how we are going to be getting there. It's just about doing more with less. So that's a bit of what we do and where we're heading. It's implementing more and more of AI now.
It's so interesting that you're talking about the human component. That is one of the things that I've kept hearing over the past episodes, that AI is a great complement and that we now have more resources to leverage the human component for the things where we can really have an impact, and that a lot of grunt work is taken away by AI, so the team has more bandwidth for the things that truly matter. I'm now very curious to see what Rajiv shows us in that regard. Rajiv, or you want to say something more?
Thank you, Simon.
Yeah.
No, the only thing that I would like to add is in the past has been all about automation. Now it's bringing intelligence to that automation. And the key is to find out how to plug and place those tools to maximize the output. So that's what we actually do, and Bridget will show us a bit more about that.
Okay, then let's get on a tangent here. What do you see? What is the biggest challenge with companies leveraging that intelligence and not sort of doing rote automation?
Is it for Gab or for me?
Yeah,
if you want
Gab. Or Rajiv, if you...
Yeah, go for it. Go for it, Rajiv.
Thank you. So the greatest challenge, I think, is first, so we have so many AI tools. Like every day, I think hundreds are coming up. Every week, there are thousands of them. Now, the question is, what tool is right for me? It's easy to get overwhelmed. It's easy to get lost. And it's easy to non-prioritize, meaning, oh, I can do video, I can do voiceover, I can do podcasts, I can write, I can create images. So there's so many options which can not only overwhelm, but make you spread very thin. What I have found out in my journey is first, if you can prioritize on one problem and then create a process around the problem. So sometimes we know the tool, but there's no clear-cut process which me or my team can use it. The process has to be in a step-by-step way where if I give it to a new team member, they can just see it and they know, okay, this is how I need to implement this process to get X results. So we are developing those processes and we are trying to focus on one problem at a time, not getting lost in so many solutions and apps.
Beautiful. I love it. I just had a conversation around this, also slightly mocking, like the sheer number of new tools coming out and being overwhelmed. And so turning the process on its head, sort of like, okay, these are the tools, what can we do with it? And then getting completely lost. And I think it's beautiful what you just pointed out, that you have to have a process, a goal in mind, then you can look what tools work. Then you have the process, align the tools, and then you can train team members on that. So I love it. Let's dig into the tools and what you do.
Awesome. So I'll just share a few tools with you, and we use this regularly in our agency. One of the things so I'm a SEO director and consultant, and one of the things that my team and even I do regularly is write a lot of title tags and meta descriptions. So what are these? So for each page of your website, you need to have a title. And whenever you search on Google, that title is displayed. Meta description is a text which is displayed below that heading and title. So they are very important for SEO. Now imagine you have a website with 2,000 pages, 2,000 different products and categories. It used to take us days to write the meta description and the title tags for it. But now with ChatGPT, we can do it at a click of a button. So the process, and then you can scale it up. It can be 10,000 pages. There are big websites with 10,000 pages. And if I get a website like 10,000 pages, I never ever think that I will ever be able to complete all the meta description and titles because it's too big a task. So we just prioritize the main pages and work on it. But with ChatGPT, now that is possible to complete in few minutes. And I'll just share my screen and show you.
And you can do it for all pages. You don't have to prioritize.
Yes, exactly. So we use this plugin, and I'll just quickly show you what the plugin is. This is called GPT for Sheets and Docs. Now, you can download this plugin, this is free, but you'll have to have an API key from OpenAI. Without this, it will not work. So once you set this up, it has functions here, and you can program the functions and it can create the output. So for example, what I've done here, say my client is Apple. These are the 4 categories I want to write the title tag and meta description. And there can be X number here, but I'll just show you with this 4 one. So I'm just going to copy this formula here and I'm just going to paste it. And within a few seconds, it's giving me one error, but if you see it as, we might have to just copy and paste it again. So you can see buy the latest Apple iPhone, best deals and discounts, Apple, shop the latest Apple tech products. And they're pretty good. Discover the latest tech products and gadgets. Shop now for the best deals on smartphone, laptops, and more upgraded tech game today. So immediately it writes all these title tags and meta descriptions, which I can copy and paste on the website. Now you can get this. So you just have to put the brand name here, because in title tags, you need to have the brand name at the end. That's how people know what website they're visiting. And then a keyword. And I've seen even if you don't put the keyword, if you put the URL, ChatGPT takes the keywords from the URL automatically and then creates the title tag. So now imagine there are 2,000 of this different pages, and you just copy paste and it's all good to go. Though it will require a bit of QA. So you cannot trust ChatGPT 100%. It will do 95% of the heavy lifting. But the 5% is where the human element comes in, and you will have to kind of have a look that it is not hallucinated. So hallucination is a particular or a very specific word, which means when ChatGPT starts creating information which is not there. So you'll have to have a look, and sometimes there might be some odd errors here and there. So you'll have to do the final QA. But it is pretty good at creating output.
Yeah. So what is
now,
the prompt for this output?
Yes.
You have designed your own prompt, so it gives you the title and the meta description.
Good question. So I'll show you how the prompt works here. This is the command. This is the prompt. What is a prompt? Write a title tag based on all the keywords, end with brand name only, and use a pipe symbol to separate the brand name. And title tags have to be 60 characters or less. So I've given that command as well. Once you give it this command, you can type any command here. And then this is GPT in the cells. So B2 is the command and E2 is the keywords. So it will take the command and the keywords and output it here. So you just have to give the cell numbers where your commands are, and it will output the command. For here, if you see, it's A2 and E2, so the keywords, and A2 is the command. Write a meta description based on this keyword, make the length strictly less than 155 characters. So meta descriptions have to be 155 characters or less.
So you read the prompt on how this thing has to look, what are sort of like the technical requirements.
Exactly. Whatever requirement is there. And this can be, something as, write 10 headlines or something like that. Whatever you feel like. And then, and you can give it the topic here. Maybe topic is, give me a topic. I'll just write life. Any random topic. Ice cream shop. Okay. And then GPT equals B8. So the first initial programming takes a bit of time, but once you've set it up, so this should hopefully output 10 headlines for ice cream shop. And the good part about this plugin is it can generate your formula here. If you describe your goal, it uses ChatGPT and it will generate your formula. There are a lot of formulas pre-written here. So it can extract email addresses from, emails, summarize text, translate, convert, quote. So you can just use this formula and it should be able to give you the output.
Amazing.
I don't know why this is error. I'll show you something else that we do. So say you have 20,000 different pages. You have written the meta description, but that is a big international site in 10 languages. So now your 1,000 meta descriptions has to be translated into, say, 10 different languages. So it becomes 10K meta descriptions. So what you can do here, there is a language command. So this is the original language output. So I'm going to show you a live one. If you give me a language, give me any random language.
I can help out with the Spanish one.
So I've already done Spanish, German, Italian, some other language.
Afrikaans.
So you can take any of them and paste it because it will translate. It's the same thing. It will keep translating. So it becomes even more easier for us to take those 1000 meta description and titles, put in a language, just translate it at a go.
So
Another
if you
thing that-
compare this,
Yeah.
sorry, the old world
Yeah.
with writing this manually, can you give us an idea of how much time it took to, I don't know, write 10 pages or 100, and how much faster this is now?
I would say it just takes us, on an average, 10% of the time that it used to take us. Because we are now just doing the QA. Whenever we are creating a meta description, we have to put, the keywords, etc. This is part of the SEO process. So this has to be put. The only thing is copy pasting the formula and then the QA. So I would say 10%. So if it was taking us 10 hours to write this, I would say now it just takes us an hour to get this. And for translation, just 5%.
And that is
Salmon?
including somebody going over this, checking it, sanity check, and sort of making sure it's really ready to go.
The main time is the sanity check, because this formula has been created. The team has this sheet. They will copy the keywords. Brand name is just copy and paste the formula. So generation takes minutes. The time is only in QA now. Whatever we need to do is the QA time.
Interesting. So there's currently a huge opportunity for companies who are fast and implement this by adding titles, meta description to all of the pages, where they've maybe done this only on 10 or 20% of the pages, to be the first to actually do this and then get better rankings on Google.
Yes. So you can use it for meta description, title tags, and that's just the beginning. Like you could use it for writing your headlines, your articles, whatever ChatGPT can do, this can do, but it is more structured. And it can take data from a particular cell and output it according to what you require.
Awesome. Cool.
I thought I'll just quickly show you another function which I find it very interesting. So what it can do is it can extract emails for outreach. So if you have email addresses which are dirty or which are embedded in text, you've copy pasted, or you have harvested them for outreach or whatever, if you put this command, it can just give you the cleaned emails. That is also pretty helpful. Instead of me taking time to clean it up, they can quickly be cleaned up automatically.
That's fantastic.
Rajiv, well, maybe it's worth explaining a bit more about why it's important to sanity check it and not copy straight from ChatGPT into your website, and what are the possible penalizations that could happen if you just copy and paste content straight from ChatGPT, and what are the ways that we use to mitigate that risk?
Is that the point where pages get tripped up by being flagged as AI generated?
Yes. So this is the first part. Here we do the QA and done. Now the second part that we do is we generate a lot of content. And then let's generate some content and say, so open chat AI, write an article on, can someone give me a topic, random topic? Okay, now obviously it goes on and keeps writing this. So it's very easy and tempting to fall into the thought that I can just copy paste this and put it in the website and SEO wise I'm done.
Right.
But I'll show you something. So if I take this, there is a particular tool called originality, which we use a lot. originality.ai. What it does is if I paste this and I'll do it a real-time test and you want to detect how much of this is written by AI, you see 100% AI generated. This tool is pretty good. So obviously we just copy pasted from ChatGPT and as such it is 100% AI generated. Now,
so how does it how does it know that it's ChatGPT or AI generated? What is the trick?
The trick is this is trained. So what ChatGPT and other LLM do, they would have a particular sequence or they revert back to particular sequence and structures of word and sentences. How Originality AI weeds them out, I wouldn't know, but they have their own model which is trained on, say, a lot of text of ChatGPT, etc. And they can, given that data set, they can make sense of the text that we type in. Though this is not 100% foolproof. This is 90% there. So we have seen once in a while it might give up. I might write something original and it might say it's AI or vice versa. Still pretty good. OpenAI has its own classifier. So if you go to platform OpenAI AI text classifier and say we paste this and we submit, and this is a free tool, it says the classifier considers the text to be unclear. Generally, it will say it's unclear, AI generated, or unlikely AI generated.
What is unclear?
Whenever it says unclear or it doesn't have enough information to make a call. So maybe if I give it more text, it might be more confident and say, okay, so let's give it a bit more text. Yeah, it's still unclear. It should actually flag this as 100% AI generated. But as I said, these tools are not 100% there. For this tool, I'll tell you a small story. Someone copy-pasted the entire US Constitution and it said it's AI generated 100%. So
that's not fully reliable.
Again, yeah. But what these two tools, even though they're not reliable, that's the best we have. And AI is evolving every day. So even with Originality, I'll show you. They had the previous model, they have the current model, and this will keep changing every few days. And even this will keep changing every few days. So we'll have to do best with what we have. Now, the reason we are doing this, we're trying to understand AI detection, is what I have seen. We wrote some few really big articles using AI, really, really good ones in depth. And initially we thought it should rank well. Those articles did not rank well. I think that Google has its own way of detecting AI. And come to think of it from Google's point of view, what value are these articles adding? Say 50,000 people put the same topic in ChatGPT and 50,000 websites have 5,000 pages of the same content. Like it's actually spam. It doesn't add any value. And Google will always give more credence to unique content and content which has a more personal taste. So my experience is these don't rank. So what you'll have to do is, even if you generate stuff from ChatGPT, you'll have to humanize it. You'll have to sit and change stuff. And if this goes up to at least 60, 70% original, we've seen a good chance of ranking. Now that takes time. So humanizing takes time, but it takes less time than writing for sure.
And humanization means you manually go in and rewrite certain passages, add your own personality, character. I don't know. How do you humanize it?
Well, how you do that is once you keep reading ChatGPT's output, you will see certain patterns, which I can pick up pretty easily most of the time. So it will have very long sentences. it will have a lot of different words in a sentence saying the same thing. Its structure is a little complex of the sentences. So once you start making the sentences more simpler, smaller, you will see the score going up automatically.
Interesting.
So that's what I do, or my team does. Another thing is if you write a bit of personalized...
Asking ChatGPT to... Would you ask ChatGPT to shorten sentences and simplify the language, and would that do the trick, or you have to do this manually?
You can try that. There were certain prompts. So I discovered a way of humanizing the content. It used to be 100% original, and you can see that video in LinkedIn. So I developed a particular prompt. So I will come to this sheet as well. The model has a few parameters, and you get these parameters only if you have the API or open playground. ChatGPT does not have these parameters. What these parameters do is temperature, P, they control the randomness of the text. Or in simpler words, they control how creative the text will be. Now, I played around with some of these earlier on, and I was able to generate content from ChatGPT which was 100% original. But then ChatGPT went and plugged that loophole. So it is still possible. You'll have to develop some prompt, keep testing. So develop a prompt, change the settings, check in originality, how much score you get. And you might come upon a prompt which is really good and which gives you 80 to 90% original, and you can keep using it. But 90% you won't get it straight from ChatGPT. You will have to use the API to change these parameters.
Got it.
This also goes to other tools like Jasper and so on. So it's not just ChatGPT, but all the other tools, all the other AI tools out there will do the same thing. They will have the same kind of structure, and the AI detectors will detect it as well. That's why the human component is still crucial, and it's not being replaced anytime soon on all this stuff.
Excellent point, Gab. That's a valid point. So all text generation tools, it can be Jasper or Texter or whatever writer, they all use ChatGPT as a backbone. So they use that API and they have their own interface. So as Gab said, the output again will be AI output. And I just quickly wanted to show you this tool. So this is a content that our human writers have written for one of our clients. And if I put it in originality, and I'll do a live test, it should give us 100% original because it is 100%. So see, it flags it as 100% original, 0%. And I've tested this across a lot of text. So as I said, 95% it's correct.
Fascinating. So here's another question. If we think about the originality of a text, or that coming out of the clear positioning of a company, does that have an impact? I mean, if I'm sort of a lookalike company and there are 50 other companies who do exactly the same and say exactly the same thing, does that impact the ranking on Google or the originality? So in other words, would it help to be really clear with my positioning, being really unique with my positioning in the marketplace? Would that help with being original with a text, or is that really only based on technical models that look at the individual text? Does it question make sense?
Yeah. So what I have seen is if you have an human element and you have a unique position, it will pass not only the AI score, but it will be helpful for your ranking in SEO because, as I said, Google would always prefer unique, personalized text. And it also, there is another parameter it has included in its algorithm. So it had EAT. So it was expertise, authority, and trustworthiness. So these were the three parameters on which Google was seeing your website and content. After AI came up, they added another E to it. So it's now EEAT. So it has EAT, authority, and trustworthiness. So these were the three parameters on which Google was seeing your website and content. After AI came up, they added another E to it. So it's now EEAT. 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 So it's now EEAT So the first E now stands for experience. And this ties into what you're saying. What is your experience in writing this content? Where do you come from? What is your stand? What is your position? And Google will now take that into consideration when it is going to rank your website. So if there is a blog with no LinkedIn, no mention of the author, no experience behind it, but it has all these hundreds of ChatGPT generated articles, it will not rank at all.
Interesting. Okay, that leads me to another question. One of the things that we preach to our clients is they have to have personality. They have to talk about their story, who they are, how they became who they are. On LinkedIn, share your background. Is that experience? So if I would expand on how I became who I am and how that feeds into my professionalism, would that meet that criteria?
Yes. So Google will pick up those signals from different social media profiles. It will also pick up from the About Us page on your site, and that's very critical. So having a About Us page talking about your experience, the team's experience, and then if you're a writer, if you have written on some other journals, other site, it keeps picking up those different signals and scraps, and then puts together. It says, okay, this person has this kind of experience, and so if they have written an article on that subject, I'll rank it higher.
That's cool. I love it. Because we always struggle to convince our clients that being personal, talking about their experiences is a positive thing. And they're always, no, I want to be professional. I don't want to talk about this personal stuff, which is not really that personal. But we do it because it sheds a light on the credibility and the experience of that person. And they're always like, no, we can't do this. And what we see, interesting enough, with engagement on these posts always do better because people get a sense of who that person is and they have more trust and confidence. And it just works so much better than just talking about the technical expertise that they have. So I'm very excited about that insight.
I totally agree with you, Simon. And as I said, with another E being introduced in EAT, this becomes more critical now.
Cool. Fascinating. So what else do we have?
I'm going to show you one last tool. And so this is, again, so I showed you the extension for the sheets. You have the same extension for docs as well. So why would you use this extension? Obviously, I mentioned all these parameters, which can give you a lot of control over creativity. You can have set prompts. So if it has a list of different prompts, say life hacker, act as a life hacker who can provide useful tips and tricks to help you optimize daily routines, blah, blah, blah. So it has some set profiles which you can use for writing, or you can create a custom profile. And you can have a single prompt here. So what I do is, if I need to write an article, I put everything here and this remains unchanged. So probably say write a 1,000-word article in a fun and cool voice. So this is my master prompt. And then say if we have the topic here, maybe the topic is on celebrating Friendship Day. You just highlight this, submit, and it will create everything in the doc, which you can just share it with someone else for editing or whatever. And then this prompt can become your master prompt, which can be used for generating other content as well. So we find this very useful. We now do not go to generally ChatGPT to get text or results, because this we can have a lot of control. We can customize our prompts, and there it is. And you can just send it across to whoever you want. It will also show you your prompt history, your favorite prompts. So a few other functionality which is not present in ChatGPT. So we use this mainly for writing content.
So a use case that I see here, and let me know whether I get it right, is if an agency ghostwrites for 10 different clients, they could create a client profile, giving the background of the client and maybe even giving the writing style of that client, and then sort of create content that is already sort of in the tonality of that client and on topics for that client without you having to prompt ChatGPT every time in the window again. Okay, now you are XYZ. Please write something like that. Do I get this correctly?
100%. So it's so amazing what I did, and I'll share the secrets with you. We needed to create a voice and tonality for our clients. Obviously, that needs to go over there, and then ChatGPT will. So we have a voice for all our clients. How do I get that voice? Very simple. Copy paste an article from the blog, and I ask ChatGPT, can you reverse create a prompt which will write an article which captures the tone, the essence, and the feel of this article? Just give me the prompt. So once you have that reverse generated prompt, that becomes a master voice for that client. You can just plug it in there in the corner and just generate it, and it will give you that particular. So we are generating a client master sheet of all the voices and tonality for our clients. And that's very essential because, as you know, one client might want something fun and the other client might want something very formal. And we did a bit of mistakes earlier on where we didn't pay attention to the tone, but now we are very careful of what we are doing because ChatGPT is very generic. It just has one single tone.
Fascinating. That's so cool. Reminds me of another process that we saw where they analyze an audio transcript from a conversation with that person, and ChatGPT was able to say, well, this is in the disk profile a person read or whatnot, but it could pick the person. You could ask it for a specific personality type framework, and it would tell you this person might be this kind of a character, and then give you the details. And they used it for persona building because it could identify who are the persona we want to talk to and put it in the context of these personality types. I found that fascinating.
Yeah, it is really fascinating how much, and GPT surprises me, Every second I put in something and it throws up something and I'm like, wow, you can do this. Okay, cool.
Cool. So exciting. I love the hacks that you shared. Thank you, Rajiv. Gabriel, anything you want to add?
No, to be honest, at this stage, it's all about trying things. The tools out there are so many, so vast. They can do so many things that the key here is find the problem first. Find the process on how you imagine the solution, and then find a tool that will do the job for you or get you closer to that solution. You might not have all the tools in one place. So the key here is to keep on trying and thinking, taking a step back from the problem and saying, okay, cool, this is my issue. This is a possible solution that can be processed. And then finding the right tools. As we've seen with the tone of voice that Rajiv was talking about, it was like, well, we had an issue where we misread the tone of voice of a client in the past. And now, okay, how can we make sure that that issue is solved moving forward? So it doesn't start with the solution. It starts with the problem and then creating the process to find a solution. There are tools out there, and there will be more tools and more tools coming out every single day. So if your solution is not there yet, either wait or find an alternative solution that will do piece of it and see how you can plug and play it. So, yeah, at this point in time, the key component is the human element to find the problem, find the process. There are so many tools out there that, you'll find a solution.
Yeah, I think adding on what you said, I think one of the fascinating things to me in the past couple of weeks or months to think about problems and suddenly identify problems that maybe could be solved with ChatGPT that I didn't even dream about solving before. So I didn't even see it as a problem because it was completely out of range of what could be done. And suddenly it is a problem that can be solved. But I first have to understand what is this problem that I had that I never really looked into because it was not solvable. And now we can actually do this. So that's so cool.
And sometimes it's not a problem, but it's a process that you're doing in a repetitive way. So sometimes just one exercise that we do, or I do often, is go back in my calendar and see where I spent time in the last 2-3 weeks and see what are the commonalities and see, okay, cool, how can I improve this particular process? So that's what I do personally, and Rajiv does this all with the team all the time. So
that's cool. Awesome. So again, thank you so much for your share. And I think listeners and viewers now have a very clear idea of what they can get if they work with you. Or do you want to give a quick sum up of like your services and how to reach out to you if they want to talk with you?
Yeah, so we have 2 main companies. One is saltandfuel.com.au. If they need help with their online marketing, they want to have a conversation about what is the strategy to go after my specific clients. We help them narrow that down quite a bit and find, okay, what are the specific channels that will drive those leads or sales to them. Now, at the same time, we're opening up a new division of our company, which is an AI consulting firm and led by Rajiv, where we go into companies and we have conversations and we try to understand exactly what are you guys doing? What are your problems? What are your issues right now? And try to figure out a solution using AI tools. I mean, not every company has the knowledge or the time to dedicate to find the right solutions. And our job is to say, cool, see it from the outside with a more of a helicopter view, understand the problem and find the process that will solve that issue, and then try to automate or use artificial intelligence to solve that issue on their behalf. So, or provide them with alternative sources of income based on tools that are out there available for them. So that's what we do at Salt and Fuel and our AI consulting. It's AI-inspired.com.au. Yeah, more than happy to have a conversation with any one of your listeners.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you, Gabriel. Thank you, Rajiv. Really an inspiring conversation.
Thank you, Simon. It was really
Simon.
amazing.
It was great
to have a chat with you.